Hello everyone. In this video, let us try to understand what is Kubernetes Ingress, why we need Kubernetes Ingress, the definition of the Kubernetes Ingress. So once we create Kubernetes service, we can access the Kubernetes services via an IP addresses and port number. So we cannot share that port number and IP addresses to the end user. So with that, we can map the IP addresses and port number to the domain. With that, we will quick start with the Kubernetes Ingress and why we need the Kubernetes Ingress. So to understand the Ingress definition, it's a Kubernetes object. The Ingress also a Kubernetes object that manages the external access to your services. So once you create a Kubernetes service, you cannot access with the domain name. For example, once you create a Kubernetes services, you can access it via port number and IP addresses, typically HTTP and HTTPS traffics. So Ingress is a Kubernetes object that manages the external access. How we will implement the Kubernetes Ingress, we will see in a practically. So once you create a service, we will map the domain name to the services via HTTP and HTTPS with the help of Ingress. So to explain diagrammatically, so once you create image and container, and with that once you create a Kubernetes pod, on top of that we create a service. We can access this service via the port number and an IP address, so 80 port number and whatever it is. So we can create a load balancing services with that. For example, if you have 25 Kubernetes services, so you need to create 25 load balancing services to make the load balancing, to map these load balancing. What we will do, this 25 load balancing will map to the domain. For example, amazon.com, microsoft.com, like that, or your own .com with an 443 port. So the 443 port number, it is for the HTTPS. We can do this without an ingress. Services can directly map to the load balancing, and that load balancing you can map to the domain. But creation of 25 load balancing, it is very costly, which is more costly, and there we also have the limitations as well. So once you create a services can be accessed via the addresses and port numbers. Usually the Kubernetes services port numbers are from 30,000 to 32,767 to access the application. So one very difficult job is you have to know the IP addresses or the particular machine names and the port numbers, which is a difficult job, and we cannot access those from the public network. We cannot access the port numbers and IP addresses directly from the public network. So for that we have the load balancing. You can map it, but it is very costly. Each service, if you are purchasing the load balancing for 100 services, if you purchase the 100 load balancing, it is very costly, and we also have the limitations. So how we can overcome this issue, this problem? Creation of multiple number of load balancing and managing is very difficult. So to overcome that issue, we have the Ingress. So how Ingress works, we will see in detail. Why we need an Ingress? Before that, exposing the multiple services through a single load balancing. In the previous slide, we have seen to map with the HTTPS and domain name, you need to create multiple load balancing. So when you use with the Ingress, it will help you to expose multiple services through a single load balancing service with 443 port number and with 80 port number. So you no need to create multiple load balancing services. Rather, you can just create one Ingress load balancing service that will expose multiple services to access your pod services in the Kubernetes. So Kubernetes is designed to extensible and let us user choose their preferred Ingress implementation. The one question, so when you have the Kubernetes, Okay, the question is, do we get any default ingress with the K8s Kubernetes? Okay, the answer is no. So there is no default ingress comes with an Kubernetes, but the Kubernetes, it give the feasibility to extend. That means you can install multiple ingresses into the Kubernetes. You can create multiple ingresses. So so it is designed to extensible and lets users choose their preferred ingress implementation. So whatever the ingresses are required, there are type of ingresses we have. So that ingresses, it's up to the users to choose what kind of ingresses are required. We can install it on top of the Kubernetes. So what is the difference between cloud versus local clusters? So when you are using the K8s cloud, when you are using the K8s cloud, that it will inject, the cloud inject their own ingress controller local setup. That means when you are going with the cloud will install their own ingress controllers. When you're going with the local setups, or example Docker desktop or Minikube, it's up to you. You need to install with manually. What happens without a ingress controller? It does nothing, or no routings are configured when you are not installing the ingress. So we'll see practically how the ingress works and how to create the ingress file and how to install the ingress in the with the Docker desktop. So how to install Ingress controller? There are multiple ways to install the Ingress controller. Ingress Nginx controller, and there are another Ingress controllers are also there. But now we will focus on the Nginx Ingress controller. With the help, there are multiple ways we have. One is you can use the Helm using the project repository chart. Using the Helm you can install it, and you can install the Kubernetes ingress using kubectl apply, like how we did the deployments and all. That's another option. This is an easy way. This we are going to follow in this session with the specific add-ons. Even if you have the Minikube or micro K8s, even you can specific add-ons are available, you can install the ingress. So this link we will use to install the ingress. We will see the practically how the ingress works. So these are the few commands we have how to get the parts of the ingress Nginx. So whenever you are installing ingress of Nginx, internally it will create some pods, and internally it will create one namespace for that, and it will just create Nginx ingress. So we will see practically that. And we need to edit the host names for just to test our ingress is working or not to redirect. We can see the logs as well, kubectl logs, which will give you the ingress logs. Just to understand the more clear, when the request is coming from the end user, so end user will type like example, just I'm taking amazon.com. When user is searching like amazon.com, the request, it goes to the load balancing service with the 80 and 443 port. So each load balance will link to the ingress class. So if you have the 4 ingresses, then you will be having 4 classes. You can get it by the command kubectl get ingress class. It will give the details how many ingress classes are there under Kubernetes. So keeping in mind, if 4 ingresses are installed in your laptop, then 4 ingress classes will be created. So when you say the ingress, there are two things. One is ingress object and ingress controller. What is this ingress object? Where you will define the roles. So that is nothing but ingress object. So how you will define the roles? Again, it's an YAML file. So by using an YAML file, you define the roles. For example, if it is amazon.com, you redirect to this service 1. If it is flipkart.com, you redirect to service 2. So like that we will define that in the ingress object. That is an ingress object. So what is this ingress controller? So whatever the roles you defined in ingress object, everything will be implemented by the ingress controller. This ingress controller will be linked to the ingress class. So whenever you are creating a YAML file where you will always define what ingress class you are using, that we can see that in the practical. So whenever the request is, whatever the request you YAML ingress redirections you defined in the YAML file, based upon that your Kubernetes Ingress will redirect to the services. These are the services we have, the services which are running. Inside that we have the pod and controllers and the images. So then we will just see practically how to install the controller, and we will also see how to map it, how to redirect our pod services from the domain. There is a command kubectl get ing. This will give you the ingress details. Let us see, is there any ingresses are available in the system Kubernetes, local Kubernetes. So no resources found in the prod namespace. There are no namespaces are available. There are no ingresses are available. When I can go to this path where it will install the Kubernetes controller, and well, let us see, is there any ingress classes are there. kubectl get ingress class, say no resources found. Let us install the Kubernetes ingress. This is the command we are going to use, kubectl apply. So when you see this file, right, this file is a deploy.yaml file which will help you to install the nginx ingress. There are multiple available ingresses are available. It's up to you which ingress you are going to use. Again, there is a differences between the two multiple ingresses we have. We can see that https see, this is the file. Okay, this will help you. No need to worry how this file is got created and all. This is available in this path. This is the kind namespace it will create inside whatever the services account is required. It will create, and it will just run the pods as well. We'll just use this command to install the Kubernetes Ingress. I'll just copy this path, or I can just say, okay, yeah, I'll just copy this path, go to the our command line interface. So this should install the Kubernetes Ingress. Takes some time. Yeah, namespace is created, ingress is created, ingress nginx admission created, and there are few required files are created, some pods are created. So whatever the packages and prerequisites are required for ingress, everything is getting created using this YAML file. So now if you see it's completed, it's all whatever the things are required, everything got created. Now if you see get ingress class, earlier you have seen the no resources found for ingress class, but when you see now Kubernetes get ingress class, so it is giving a class name. So as I explained in the previous slides, right, so once you install any ingress, that will be mapped to the one of the ingress class. This is an ingress class. So if you are installing like 10 ingresses, it will link to the 10 ingress classes. And now do we have any ingresses? So we whatever we installed this with this path, right, this is an ingress controller which we install now, right? So each ingress controller, it will link to the ingress classes. Okay, so now we have created an ingress controller. When you see our the chart, right, so if you see we installed the ingress controller, right, this ingress controller is linked to the ingress class. Now ingress object we need to create. So how you will create? So before that, do we have any ingress objects in the system? We can see that no resources found in the prod name. There are no resources. So how do you create ingress object? So again, with an YAML file, I already created ingress.yaml. So API version is the v1, which we already know that. And what kind of object we are creating? It's an ingress object. This is the metadata information. And rewrite rules, we have path based redirection and host name redirection. So that's why we are giving an annotation where it will help us to define the path based or route host based. So what is the host name we are given? This is an your domain.com. You can give any available domain which you already created. You can give that host name. And this is path type is prefix, so slash your domain.com, it will take like that. And we have the service here. So this is very important. What I am telling, whenever the request is coming to this domain, your domain.com, you have to redirect to this service path. So if the service is wrong, if the service is not available, it will not redirect. It will clearly say the service is unavailable and the port number. So this service we already created in the previous videos. This service is already running. You can just see whether that service is running or not. The command is kubectl get svc is a service. It will give you the service name with the node port we created, just to make sure this is the service which we used created with the node port 3001 with the node port. That hence you are seeing the service name. Also we have mapped there in the ingress.yaml file. So I'll just move to the ingress.yaml file again. The service is running. Now let us create an ingress with this path. I'll just point to that point. That's already it is point to the Ketaki Angular app path. I'll just apply kubectl apply -f file name, and I'll just say ingress.yaml. This should create ingress. So now when I see controller already we created, and in ingress class we already created. Now when you say kubectl get ingress, this should display the ingress name. This is the ingress name and your domain.com. So now when you use this your domain.com, it will not redirect, because we have, if we will see that. So as it is a local host, right, we're trying to access the cluster. We need to do small setups, because this domain we have not even purchased. We are just trying for our localhost purpose. So how do you do that? There are few steps we need to consider to do that. So the first step is you need to redirect the port. Okay, so we need to add there is a one file in the Windows. Okay, so host file, we call it as a host file. You need to edit that host file with the admin credential. Like we have to run directly. If you are opening this path and if you are editing this file, it will not take, because it requires an administrator credentials, right? Admin authentication is required. So how do you do that? You can just open the notepad. I'll just open the notepad. So now whenever you are opening the notepad, you need to run that as there is an option. You blindly if you are running, it will not take any changes. So you have to run that notepad as an administrator. So once you open the notepad as an administrator, you will get one pop-up. So as an administrator, I opened the notepad. Now I'll go to that path, so where my host file is there. So I'll just copy that host file path where our host files are exist in Windows machine. I'll copy that. I'll go to the host here. I'll just open that file. Here it by default it will not show anything, because it is it's only here we are showing text document, but all files you need to select. This is an host document. I'll just open this. So this file got opened with an administrator. Now I'll uncomment this. So what is this 127.0.0.1? This is a default IP address where your pods are running. You can directly access with a port number. Now I am mapping that just for testing purpose. I'm just mapping with 127.0.0.1 with the pod service. I'm mapping with my domain. So I'll just save this and I'll just minimize this again. Now again I added this path in the host. Now this is the logs. You can check if you have any error. Now I'll just open this your domain .com. Let us see whether it will redirect or not, we'll just see that. So your domain.com, right? So now it says your domain.com, it is not found. Okay, but it is trying to redirect, but it is saying not found. Let us see why it says not found. uh, I am just trying to restart again. Still it says not found your domain.com. We have already created the namespaces. This, if you see this namespace, right? So I'll just say cls, I'll just clear it. When you see get namespaces, there when you are installing the Kubernetes Ingress, by default Ingress Nginx got created. This is the namespace. By default it created with a controller. When you are creating some other ingresses, again it will create and it will map to the ingress classes. So now if you clearly see that what kind of, why it's not why it's telling not found means, you have to mention the port number as well. So what is the port number we created our service? That is 30001. Okay. So when you give the port number, it is giving the application, like your application is loading with the your domain.com. So that's how we are going to redirect, just for localhost purpose. Just we are mapping our default IP addresses of our node port, and with the uh, some dummy domain name we are just mapping just for the testing purpose, just to understand whether our ingress is working properly or not. So how do you check that whether our ingress is working properly? So you can check the logs as well. So for example, if I am giving a service, wrong service, say some dummy service I am giving, which service is not available, and when I will just create that service here with the apply command again. Apply -f and service.yaml. uh, okay, my bad. Service is unchanged, that's fine. I'm not changed anything in the service, but ingress, so I'll just change the ingress with the service, dummy service I configured. So now still now whenever you are browsing your application, right? So when you are running this application, still this will be running, because we are directly hard coded the host name and the IP addresses in the host file. But to understand whether it's calling to your service or not, we can check that in the logs. So what is the log path we have? How do you check the logs in the ingress logs? This is an ingress nginx, the namespace which is created whenever you are installing the ingress. I'll just copy this path, and when I execute this, we can see what is the log is there. This, I'll just remove the space now. Yeah, so these are the logs it will display. And if you just see the error, what is the error, anything redirection is properly happened or not with the ingress, you can just see the logs, you will come to know. No object has been modified, please apply your successfully acquired the lease, and ingress does not contain a valid ingress class. Okay, so here you need to it is a logs it is telling, so you need to mention the ingress class as well. So how do you mention the ingress class here? Kind and spec, wherever you are giving a spec, you can just, I think, ingress class, you need to mention that. So this is the metadata, and rules and host name. So you need to mention the ingress class as well. So how we'll fix that error? So what is the log we got? Ingress class name is not defined. Here we can define that ingress class name. You can just say ingress class name. We have already created the ingress nginx, this is our class name which we have already seen via the command. So now let me apply that ingress changes again. Now apply ingress. Okay, ingress, there is, I think we have invalid value, map ingress class name. Okay, ingress class name, we'll see what is that error, why its ingress class name is not taking, we'll try to see that. So actually, Ingress class name you should not give directly on the main node after API version. The Ingress class name you need to define in the spec. So that's why it was throwing this error, unable to configure invalid value it is telling. So now when I given that Ingress class name inside a spec, I am able to create Ingress configuration is successful. Now let us hit this app again, and now we will see what is the logs we will get. Now when I say, when I call this one, check the logs there. So here I have given an extra space. So now you see what is the error now it is throwing. Okay, so attempting to acquire leading ingress, and the object has been modified, successfully acquired, ignoring the ingress prod name. Ingress does not contain a valid ingress class. This is, I think this is the old one we are seeing that. So once it is done, backend successfully, you see now the error is no object is matching with the key. So that means in local store no object, there is no service with this name. So that's why we are getting this error. So that means our ingress is working, and we are able, whenever we are calling that the name, whenever request is coming from this yourdomain.com, it is trying to redirect to this service, but this service is not available. So we are confirming via the services. Okay. So in this video we understood what is ingress and why we need ingress, and practically we have created an ingress class and ingress controller, and we understood what is ingress object, and we have seen that how to load the ingress logs, and we have also seen how to update the host file in the Windows server. Okay, so if you have any queries, any feedback or anything if you want to share, please feel free to add it in the comment section. Thank you.